As we approach the exact Saturn-Neptune conjunction, I wanted to sit down with a few of our contributing voices who will be a part of the Wholehearted Convergence Summit and simply ask, how are they meeting this moment? So as we get started, let's just take a moment to arrive. If it feels comfortable for you, we might place a hand on your chest or just simply notice your breath. And we'll take one breath here together. And now let's begin. So today I'm joined by someone whose voice I deeply respect and trust. We have Ann Rossberg joining us. Ann brings a thoughtful, grounded presence to astrology, one that holds both psychological depth and spiritual maturity. What I appreciate most about her work is the way that she meets complexity without rushing to resolve it and invites reflection rather than certainty. Welcome, Anne. I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
I am really excited about it too. It will be lots of fun. So, I wanted to ask you here, when you think about this Saturn Neptune moment, what have you been noticing in yourself or in the people that you work with?
As I look at different clients' charts and my own chart, my family's charts, uh, I'm noticing there's a lot of change going on for the better. And it really depends, part of their life that it's occurring in depends on what house these
Yeah.
two planets are in their natal charts. For me, and we've talked about this before, for me, Neptune and Saturn are in alignment in my 10th house, and there's a lot of career changes going on for me that are very positive and very exciting. I have a client whose alignment occurs in her 4th house, and she's been taking care of a family member who has dementia, and that person has lived with them for a few years now. And it's been very difficult. And she's finally come to the realization in the last few months that there's going to have to be a change. And just in the last few weeks, she has been making some very positive steps to find an appropriate facility for this person, that sort of thing. What's interesting is, to me, is when I look at that person's chart, the one that's being taken care of, their Neptune and Saturn are in their 6th house and is opposite their natal Chiron in the 12th house.
Oh,
And yeah, and that just sort of boggles my mind. It kind of in some ways bothers me, but I think it's going to be a very positive step for that person as well, because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of
yeah.
problems. They just don't understand what's going on. And so to have someone professionally taking care of them, I think will be a benefit. Uh, I have another client whose alignment occurs in the 2nd house, and they've been working on building a business. And in the last few months, it's been coming together. And while that person was stressing all the time about money, 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 now things are getting better. And that alignment, I think, shows that it was meant to be happening now, because it is in their 2nd house. And
Wow.
so I just see a lot of really positive things. And, I do a lot with tarot cards, and, Saturn is in tarot is the ruler of the universe. And according to tarot cards, and they represent the world card, which is the last card of the deck of the major arcana. And so I find that interesting that, and Saturn is coming into alignment with Neptune, and Neptune is the high priestess. And so you have the world and the high priestess, and the emperor represents Aries. And so all these, looking at it not just from astrology, but from the tarot, they're all blending and telling you the same thing, basically, is that there are positive things going on. There are things you're going to have to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just meant to be. It's just coming into perfect alignment in Aries, and we get to have a whole new start. I think it's wonderful. I'm excited.
It's absolutely exciting, and I love that you're speaking to that in the way that you are. And thank you so much for just sharing some of those examples of what you're seeing for yourself, and also, what's happening with your clients, and the pieces of how tarot fits as well, right? And a huge element here that you're speaking to is like there are these changes happening. Often I think Saturn, like, it's spoken about as one of the malefics, right? Gets this big bad rap, but really there are some really valuable positive things that are emerging, that are unfolding. Not always, things that we would have necessarily arrived at previously, but there's sort of this openness that we're allowing the space for these changes. And if we hold on to that mindset of there is a positive quality here, right? Saturn, like you said, that imagery with the ruler of the worlds, right? That world card in tarot, like, for me, it's always been a wish fulfillment card, right? So, I could just kind
Yeah.
of picture it. So, I think keeping that in mind is a really important piece with this. So let's piggyback on that with the idea of like what feels most important for people to understand or hold on to right now with this.
Well, my whole philosophy of life is to be optimistic and to accept the things that come along that tell you, hey, it's time for a change. Well, it's not a negative thing. I mean, everything evolves, and we're going to, that's part of life, is learning to make good choices, but to accept what happens. Invariably, if something happens in your life that you see as a very negative thing, if you wait 6 months or a year, or maybe only 3 weeks, you'll see, oh, there was a reason for that because now this positive thing is happening. My mother always said everything happens for a reason, and and she's right. It's very simplistic, but she's right. And so I think the thing to keep in mind is, well, okay, so I'm climbing this hill and it's not so great, but I'm going to get to the top of it, and then it's going to be wonderful. And I think that's the way you have to look at this. And like you said, so many people look at Saturn as being kind of a negative thing, and and then in some ways, I mean, with Neptune, the key word is it dissolves, and you automatically think, oh, well, that's a bad thing. It's not. It's sometimes things need to be dissolved so
Mm-hmm.
that you can see clearly, so that you can attune yourself to what the future is going to hold. That sometimes you've got to dissolve some of this stuff to see, it's like the snow. The snow dissolves, and then you have this beautiful spring. Where I live,
Love it.
we have to have it get really, really, really cold for the bluebonnets to come out. And if we don't have a very cold winter, we don't get very many bluebonnets. And so it's that snow or that ice has to come and it has to dissolve so that we get our bluebonnets.
Oh
So
my gosh. What a wonderful image with that, and a beautiful example there. Earlier you were talking about like a new beginning kicking off, like with that Aries piece here.
mhm.
Absolutely. Things transition and evolve and develop into other things. And you said it so well, that idea of like being optimistic, but part of what that includes is acceptance of the now, right? Even if it's something that we're uncomfortable with or uncertain about, it doesn't mean that we will be stuck in this pain space, right?
Right.
if we just allow and unfold, part of what emerges on the other side of it may be as beautiful as the blue bonnets. It may be something that allows a whole new chapter for us to unfold. Um, I think that's a really lovely image, and especially like as cold a season as we've been having in the US, right? What a reminder that not only is spring coming, but sometimes it takes those kinds of conditions for there to be something that isn't
Absolutely.
always here.
Yeah.
I
And so
love that.
that's how I look at Saturn and Neptune is, one is challenging us and is giving us new direction, and one is making all the negative stuff go away
Yeah.
so that we can see clear.
And the dissolving that you described a few minutes ago, it's not always the thing that we anticipate might be what makes the bad stuff kind of stop,
Yeah,
right? But it allows us now to not only have things shift in our lives, but internally as well.
absolutely. Well, I mean, Neptune uh, gives us spiritual guidance,
Mm-hmm.
uh, gives us a chance to explore our internal feelings, our inner thoughts about our spirituality. And I think as we get into, you know, the 20th and they both converge at the beginning of Aries, uh, I think we'll see a lot more spirituality, a lot more focus on what what the universe means to each person. It's not so much religion, although we may see a rise in that too, but it's more your own personal spirituality.
Beautifully said, right? It's not so much just about what there is with the noise around us. It's also what are we experiencing internally. And earlier, you referenced the High Priestess card alongside Neptune, right? That archetype of kind of diving deeper inwardly.
Right.
And so let's look at like an invitation here to consider like what feels worth paying attention to for people, especially beneath the noise.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate the care, the honesty, and the presence that you're bringing to this moment, this threshold. And I always absolutely love chatting with you about what's going on here in our skies. And for those of you listening, I hope you can see why Anne is one of my favorite people to speak about astrology with. And if this conversation resonated with you, you're absolutely warmly invited to join us for the Wholehearted Convergence Summit taking place live online on February 20th. This is a free gathering held as a shared space for orientation, reflection, and discernment. Not prediction, not urgency, not overwhelm. I think we have plenty of that going on, but just a moment to meet this threshold together and with care. And of course, Anne will be one of the contributing voices joining us alongside a small circle of astrologers, practitioners, all who are engaging this conjunction thoughtfully and humanely. So if you feel drawn, you can learn more and register at the link below. We would love to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very honored that you invited me to join this circle.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
very exciting to me.
We're very, very, very honored to have you say yes and so excited that you'll be joining us. And I really look forward to your continuing the conversation alongside us, Anne.
Well, thank you. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to it.
Likewise.